No? Okay. We've been talking about invites. And I find that for most everybody, the invitation is one of the hardest things to move forward. And especially because I've heard this from different people. Well, I don't know that many people. We really do know a lot of people, but we may not, they're acquaintances or people that we see when we're out and about in our day. And the thing is when we are inviting people, we're inviting people to just take a look at what we have to offer. And one of the things I want to go through these charts with you, because one of the things that Richard Blissbrook that I learned taking a couple of his different courses was we just have to do the inviting to ask people if it's something they want to look at. And then if they do want to look at it, we show them what's available to them in as a whole. And then we let them pick and choose. And you have to understand, you know, why commercials are so effective. Commercials are effective because they get replayed over and over again. So I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I see a commercial, you just kind of look at it. And then maybe after the 10th or 15th or 50th time, you're like, huh, that's interesting. Maybe I should give that a try. You know, and that holds very true because I've had people approach me with different things in wellness for my own personal use that I didn't give a second thought at in the beginning. But then maybe a year later, I remembered that and I heard something else about it. And I was like, huh, maybe I should take a closer look at that. So even though people, when you invite them and you show them what you have to offer, sometimes don't take action at that time, it could be a few days, a few weeks, a few months, a few years, and they will take action on that because that seed's been planted there. And one of the things I loved that, did I get, oh, darn it, I didn't get the right chart. Hang on.
Oh, come on. No, I'm just teasing.
Did I get the right one? Oh, maybe I did. Step 2, step 3. Well, this is what we're showing. The authentic networker. Step 1 is you always want to look for a way to connect with people. If you know people and you know them well, get right to the point. Sometimes, and I'm gonna present this to you because I've had this happen. I've had a friend of mine call me, and they're calling and they're making light and they're having all this small talk. Now, these people, I haven't talked to these people in years, and they're going on, and then they say, and by the way, so now how does that make you feel? All right, you're laughing, you know my point, you know exactly where I'm going with this. So if you have a reason to call them, then you want to get right to the point. You know, so if I haven't talked with Joe in 15 years, I'm not going to call him and just start having small chats, you know, small talk, because he's going to think, okay, what's going on? Why is she calling me? Instead, I'm going to call Joe and I'm going to say, hey, Joe, you know what? We haven't talked in a long time. All right. Yeah, you're like, what in the world am I calling you out of the blue for? Well, I'm going to tell you why. I got involved in this company. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing experience for myself, for my family. I have seen incredible things happen, not only in my health, but in our finances. I'm really excited about, I thought of you because you just have a magnetic personality. Whenever you're looking at connecting with somebody, find a couple ways to genuinely compliment them, because they'll know if it's true or not, especially if it's people that you know. And Joe, you are magnetic with people and you genuinely care about other people. And I thought of you because that's the type of community that this business is a part of. You know what? I don't know if it may or may not be for you. It may or may not interest you, but you were one of the people I thought of when I was shown what this company was about. And if you have 15 or 20 minutes, I'd love to take the time to just show you what it's about. You know, or if you're being brand new in it, you can say, you know what, I've got a short video. I can send over a short video that would give you the information. I mean, would you be willing to take a look at it? And more than likely, they'll give you an answer, yes, no, or not right now. They may say, I'm too busy, I can't do it. You know what? Perfectly understand, Joe. Would it be okay if I reconnected with you maybe in a month? If they say, wow, I don't, let's shoot for 2 months. Would that be okay? And I asked for permission, and most of the time they're like, well, yeah, sure, that would be great. Great, Joe, I will reconnect with you in a couple months. I'm really excited to hear what you have to say and what you think about it. You know, and I understand if this is not a good time. Respect what they're saying. You know, we're not here to push anybody into anything. We're here just to show them what we have. And then if Joe says, well, yeah, that'd be great, I'd love to just take a look at it. Great. Is this a good phone number? I can either text it to you or I can email it to you. What works better for you? Find out the best method for them. Great. Get that information, send it, say, I'll send that to you as soon as we get off the phone. When do you think you might be able to take a look at that? And Joe may say, well, you know what? I'm not going to have any time probably until Friday. So let me take a look at it Friday. Say, great, Joe. Do you want to connect Friday night or maybe even Saturday? And he says, you know what? Saturday morning would work. Great. How about 9? Is morning okay for you? All right, great. 9, 10 o'clock. What would work better? He says 10 o'clock. One of the things that you want to do when you're doing that is anytime that you're inviting and you're talking with people, you want to set up that time for that follow-up so that follow-up isn't awkward. So they already know that you're going to reconnect with them. They already are expecting that. So it's no surprises and they're not going to feel weird, right? You're just being matter of fact with them. If you wanted to, depending on who would, that's usually my first go-to is I will go ahead and send them a video because time-wise, that usually works great for people. And then I follow up with them and we talk on, Saturday, call on Saturday. Hey, what did you like best? What did you like best about the video? And then get their response. And they say, wow, I really like the idea of being able to teach others to build something that would create passive income. Great. I mean, would you like me to get you some more information? I'd love to get you some more information. Would it be okay if we connected with the person that I'm working with? I'd love to get on a phone call with, what kind of questions do you have? Always addressing what they like best and what their questions are. And then that's when you connect them to me and Mary. Connect them with somebody that's more knowledgeable, then say, great, let's go ahead and set up a time that we can give you more information. How about we connect with my partners and we'll just have a quick chat if that's okay. Or many times what works really well is when you call and ask them what they like best, and then a question, you can say, gosh, Joe, that's a really great question. Hang on a minute. I just want to connect with Marcia or Mary. And if it's okay, I want to grab them because I think they'll be able to answer that question a little bit better for you. And most of the time they'd be like, okay, great. So now what you're doing is you're bringing in a third-party resource of validation from somebody else. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that kind of takes the pressure off you to make you feel like, well, gosh, no, I really don't have to know everything. Because if they start inquiring of things, you're like, gosh, that's a really great question. Hang on, let me get Mary or Marcia on the phone. They would be able to answer that question a lot better than I could.
Yeah. So
So now that just brings in so that you are like, yeah, I can do this because I can answer the questions that I'm comfortable with. And then I can have a go-to person to be able to bring in to help answer some of those other questions. All right. And plus what that does for them, it lets them know that should they become involved, they've always got another source to refer to. So that they're not like, well, gosh, I'm going to have to know all that. that's a lot to learn. I don't know if I can do that. But if they know that they have other sources and other availability, then they'll be like, well, gosh, I can call so-and-so and they can help me. Right? So that they realize they're not in it by themselves. So connect with people and that sort of thing. Another thing is think about how you want people to connect to you. You know, and that's something I will tell you with my own personality. It's kind of important to understand personality types. For me, I'm mainly a director. I'm pretty to the point. I've even been in meetings with people and they went on and on and on. And I looked at them and I said, how about you just give me the nuts and bolts and then I'll decide. Okay. And so then they will proceed and give me the nuts and bolts. You know, and so I like to talk with people, but it's important understanding what people's personality is, because for me, I can come across as very cold and callous because I am all about the direct and giving me the basic information. So that is something I've had to work at and get better at, because sometimes I would catch myself even with new people, reaching out to people and just coming out with the information that I want to know. All right. You know, how are they doing? You know, what are they experiencing with their program? Instead, especially with personalities, how are you doing today? You know, are you having a great day? Again, it's going to depend on the personality. And then kind of getting into that conversation. But think about how you want people to connect to you. You know, how would you feel comfortable with that? If you don't know people well, people that you know well, connect immediately, tell them why you're calling, you know, why you're connecting with them. And then again, genuinely look for 2 ways to compliment people. If you don't know them, seek to connect with them first. You know, look for different ways to connect people in different ways and look for areas of need. So I'm going to give you a perfect example. On our trip, we were in a store and it was freezing in this store. They had the air blasting. So I was trying to find a spot to stay warm. And I went over to the side night, and one of the ladies behind the counter, I go, man, it's cold in here. I says, I can't find any place to get warm. So 2 of the ladies come closer to me and they say, well, there's 3 of us ladies in here and we're all dealing with menopause. So we get hot flashes constantly. And I said, oh, that explains it. I said, well, would you like me to share a secret with you? And they're like, yes. And I said, I used to have hot flashes at one time and I found a solution to that. And they all leaned forward and they go, 2 of them, the other gal wasn't right there. They said, you do have to tell us. Okay. So that was a very out of the blue, unexpected. I wasn't expecting that at all. All I was doing is we were having conversation and we were talking as we were going throughout the store, and the opportunity presented itself. Couldn't have been any easier than that. And so I connected with them, got their phone numbers, sent them the short video. The one lady has to view it this week. The other lady, money is tight right now, so she couldn't do the whole program. So I sent her the Meology. I said, take a look at this and maybe we can look at some other avenues, you know, and then I talked to her about hosting an event, sharing it with a few people. So I'm going to follow up with her in that respect. So that all started with just a connection and actually kind of being funny. You know, I was just trying to find a place to stay warm. The other thing that works really well when you're connecting with people is, remember that form method: family, occupation, recreation, and money. You know, asking questions about what they do for a living. You know, and I have found that has really opened up the doors to a lot of areas with people, because a lot of times what people will do is they'll reciprocate. Once they talk about what they do, they'll be like, well, what do you do? You know, and that's when we take a couple, and maybe we should touch on that next week a little bit about what is your response when people say, what do you do? And that can be very, if I asked each of you, what do you do? What would you say? And that was a very daunting task for me because I would get into too long. And I found some different ways, like I had shared before with you all, is I'm a business owner. We work with people in health and wellness, and we show people how to live younger, longer, feel their best selves through a good quality nutritional supplemental line. And then we also build teams. We show other people how to do that, and build a passive income. And then I may even ask them, have you ever been exposed to anything like that? Have you ever thought about that, for yourself? Be curious. The second thing is, if you are curious with people, and just ask questions and be curious, not an interrogation, not a bunch of set up questions, but just being curious. And I'm going to give you an example. If your 2-year-old was in the other room and fell and hurt themselves and came running into the room, what would you start doing? Asking, what happened? Oh, what'd you fall in? Where does it hurt? Can you show me? And you begin to start asking a series of questions based upon whatever the issue is. So I think an important thing is, when you're asking the questions, trust your intuition. Ask whatever is there in the moment. Not, again, just using that form method, but not planning and strategizing the questions, but genuinely being curious about the person and asking as part of the conversation. I think that's really important. Step 3, be candid. If they ask you questions, don't be cute or creative about it. You don't want to go into this long, drawn out explanation and they have no clue what you're talking about. So when they ask me what I do, well, I do have my own business. I show people how to take care of themselves through a good quality nutritional products line. So now they know that I have products that I'm showing people, and then I'm also teaching other people to do what we do. It wasn't anything major. A lot of times people will say, well, what company is it with? Well, it's with Shaklee. It's the most clinically proven wellness company in the entire world. Have you ever heard of them? And then I find out what they've heard. Okay. Answer their questions clearly and confidently. Don't ever be afraid to say that you are a network marketer. Just, again, being concise, clear, and then follow up with another curious question is always great. Let's see. Whoops. Step 4. Yeah. Be present. We want to make sure we're actually listening to people. Listening is actually hearing. Being present is not hearing your own words in your head. How many times have you found yourself, I'm guilty of this, when people are talking, you're thinking about what you should say next. So nothing wrong with that to a point, but really genuinely listening to what they have to say. And then many times I will actually say back what they told me, depending on what they're saying. So if they are talking about how they're feeling and how they have a hard time getting up in the morning and they've got a lot of knee pain and joint pain, maybe they just say joint pain. And I can say, well, gosh, so if I'm hearing you right, you're just having, mornings are really difficult for you. You are getting the joint pain, but where are you getting the major part of your joint pain? So now what am I doing? I'm clarifying and I'm asking more questions. And they may say, well, gosh, my knees are terrible. Well, gosh, did you have an accident, or did you used to be a runner, or, what created the joint pain? Again, I'm kind of getting some clarity on maybe why that is. Being present is being quiet, not judging or wishing they would hurry up and shut up, or agreeing or disagreeing with them. Because people can hear the chatter in our heads while they're talking, depending on the look on your face. People can feel it when you're present, and it really honors people when we listen. Because then there's like, wow, they're listening. What I have to say is important. We always want to look for ways to open people up, to invite them to feel comfortable enough to ask more questions, to seek for more answers. And so when we are curious, candid, present, and patient, people will invite you to invite them. They will begin to open up to you. Wait for the opening. In other instances, I have talked with people. The opening wasn't there to say anything about shackling. So again, I've mentioned before, I will look for other ways to connect with people, to continue that connection, to continue that relationship. Facebook is usually the best way. But I'll give you another example. We were in an antique store. I got talking with a couple of people. He was kind of receptive to nutrition. They were doing the shot therapy with nutrition. They were giving themselves shots every day. Never heard of that before. And so, we got talking a little bit. There was a little bit of interest there. He wasn't really on Facebook, so I gave him a card. He didn't really open the door to kind of go any further, to give him more information. And his wife was not receptive at all. Really, she basically just put the card down in the thing. And so I don't know, but hey, they have a card. If they want the information, they can get the information. So you can just kind of read some people. Some people you'll talk to and they won't basically ask any question. And sometimes there's no connection at all. There's other people you're going to talk to and you don't want to connect with them. I have walked away because it's not somebody that I have a connection with, that I would have relationship. But wait for the opening. Wait for the opening. And like I said, Facebook is a great way to connect with people. When you do connect with people, like I did with the couple ladies that had the menopause, then I asked them, hey, this is what I took these natural nutritional products, absolutely amazing. I saw changes within a month, for myself. That's what I saw. If you want, I'd be happy to give you the information if you would like, so that you can take a look at what I did. And they both were like, yes, we would love to take a look at that. And I think using that language, just taking a look, because it makes them feel like all you're doing is you're giving them more information. So nobody ever feels like they're on the spot that they have to make a decision right then. Because most of the time, you got to remember, when somebody comes to you, now it depends on how ready you are. When you go in, if you're going and you're just shopping for a car and you're looking around, but you know that you're not ready to buy until 6 months down the road, or maybe a year down the road, right? You're going and you're just looking, and somebody wants to come and talk to you. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm like, no, we're just looking around. Now, let's just say I need a car and I need that car within a month, and I'm really looking for answers, and they don't know that. And I go and they say, well, hi, what can I help you with? What are you looking for? I am looking for this, this, and this. This is what I need. So now what's going to happen is he's going to give me the information that I need so that I can better make a decision. I might make a decision that day because I'm ready. There are some people that are ready. And I'm going to give you another example. The lady that owns the antique shop, we got talking about, she had a very sick dog. And we got talking about our dog and what we went through with our dog. Again, here comes that connection. Her dog had been very sickly. She had spent a lot of money, and we told her about what happened to our puppy. Just devastating. So what we did is we related to her in the same experience that we had. It doesn't always have to be your experience, but it can be someone else's experience that you know of. That's what's so great about listening to Shaklee testimonies and reading Shaklee testimonies, because you can take and confer that to other people. And we got talking about the dog and some different things that could be done, and gave her a little information. And then she was talking about herself, and she opened about how she was feeling. And she says, you know, I really need to do something like this. And I says, let me do this. Here's a short video, because she had some other people in the store. And I left her with that. And then I followed up with her the next day. And she hadn't had a chance to watch the video, but she was like ready to start. You could just tell in the way she was coming across. And I said, you know what? How about I stop over and I'll talk with you a little bit more. So we stopped over. I took some time to explain Shaklee, you know, basically with our overview in person, and she was ready to start. She actually started that day. You know, so she was a completely different where she was ready to get started. So again, it's learning for those connections with people and starting those conversations. We're not, I hate using the word recruit. I would rather use the word invite, because you're really building a lot of relationships and you're just sharing something that has meant a lot to you. And you're all you're doing is having people to take a look at what you're doing, you know. And down here, I know exactly how you can do that. Would it be worth it to you to take a look, like with I talked about with the ladies that were going through the issues with the menopause? If I give you a book, that's in network marketing. I use different books sometimes for talking to people about business. If I get you some samples, or if I send you a short video, or I send you a Meology link, will you go ahead and take a look at it? You know, when can you take a look at that by? You know, if I do this for you, will you do this? You know, finding out if they're ready to take that next step. Not always are people ready to do that. And so then step 7, honoring the no. We don't want to argue with anybody. We don't ever want to feel people. I don't ever want anybody to ever feel like they're being pushed or pressured, because it dishonors people. For me, I want people to understand I offer a service. I offer this to them. This is my profession. And I want them to feel comfortable enough with me so that if they run across somebody that's having an issue, they can say, well, gosh, Marsha's great. She'll give you the information that you need and she'll let you make your own decision. And so, and then even if somebody isn't involved, they'll refer people to you because you hear them. You know, you're respecting their decision. And if people say no, I respect that. And I say, you know what, that's okay. If it's all right with you, if I come across something I think would interest you, is it all right if I just send it to you? And you know what? I've never had anybody tell me no. And I just, one gal I was talking to earlier said right now is not the right time for her. And I said, that's okay. And I used that just there to ask her if it was okay if I send something. You know, that goes a long way. And treated right, your no's, actually, they will actually become your best, they'll become your best prospects, your best clientele, because they know you, they know what you do, and life will change for them. Life always changes for people. Richard, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing that. One of the things that Richard Blissbrook had talked about is when he was presented with the opportunity of a network marketing company, he wasn't ready. He was doing great in his job. He was moving forward, but life changed for him dramatically within a month. And guess what? That guy, a friend of his, showed him what he had to offer, and he called him back. He blatantly told him no when he did the presentation because it was not for him, but life changed. And he called him back and said, I need to hear more about this because life has changed. His job was no more. He couldn't move up anymore in the company, and things were about to change drastically for him. You know, so that's something for us to always remember, that no doesn't mean forever. It just means not right now. And that's okay. So does anybody have any questions, comments, or thoughts on that?
I heard a quote from Roland Osterhaus, who was, I think, a presidential master coordinator somewhere up there. And he said, the more questions you ask, the more trust you build.
That's good.
I thought it was so
I'm
good. I wrote it down.
That's what I'm doing right now. And you know, that he is one of the other groups that I'm a part of. They were saying that he asked like 7 or 8 questions before he even presents or shares anything on his side, because he wants to understand and get to know that person. And if we think about that, what better way to help somebody by getting to know them? You know, when you go into a store and you are somewhere where they are selling something, we know that they're looking to sell something because they're going to earn money from that. Same positioning. You know, we're kind of in that, we're in that same position. Yes, we earn money with what we do. But when we take and turn that around and look at this as, okay, yes, I have this, but let's find out what you need. And then we'll talk about what you need and what I have to offer you. So it's a completely different perspective instead of just selling them something. And I like that with asking, the more questions you ask, the more trust you build. Because then your focus is on them. You're not focusing so much on what you're selling and just selling them a product. Who got a chance to go over the invites?
The Barb Lagoni ones?
Hang on, I'm going to bring it up here. Let me share my screen. Here we go. This paperwork that I had sent on the invites.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. This is important. I sent this in one of the last emails. And what this is it's a whole bunch of different invites. I actually took the invites that they had on that video with Barbara Lagoni, and I put them on here. Okay. So go in, print this off. See, here's the Meology invites. There's a couple different ones. I've got the little circles here to separate them. Inviting somebody to a 3-way call. And that's kind of where that comes into that situation with following up with somebody and you're not quite sure. You can say, you know what, I have a colleague that's been in this business much longer than me. Could have some more insights about that. If it's okay, let me see if they're available to connect. And if you can, do it right then. Because many times I know for myself, I can take a few minutes and answer a few questions. You know, as long as I'm not in a meeting with somebody else or, you know, right in the middle of, you know, training or something else, you know, I can take a few minutes to connect and answer a question with somebody on a phone call, because that doesn't take that long. And that's just a great thing for you and for somebody else to see. Invites of casual conversation. And so go through these, and for myself, probably the biggest thing I do is when I am out and about and talking with people, I always look for somebody that I would want to have in my community. And what we could do is we can go over more of these next week, because what I would like to do is take and do, I'd like to present a challenge to you. We're going to talk about invites, read through these invites, pick out 4, 2 business, 2 as far as wellness product. Okay, that can be the youth, it can be the cleaners, it can be the nutrition, anything. Pick out 2 of each. Because what I want you to do is I want you to become really good at those. Because then you're going to have those in your tools kit so that you can go out and about and you can feel comfortable enough to be able to just invite somebody. And what I want to do is have a 30-day challenge with you to do one invite a day. One invite. I did the challenge of a 90 days. I had to invite, now mine was different. I had to do one business invite a day. Okay, I'm going to give you the choice. You can do either. But what it does is it gives you practice. It kind of stretches you. Now, when I'm talking about an invite, all an invite is inviting to somebody to take a look at what you have. All they do is say yes, no, or not right now. That's an invite. Doesn't matter what the response is. Because then what I want to do is I want to come back and we're going to talk about those invites and what the responses were and how we can do them better. Does that make sense? After 30 days, you are going to feel pretty confident about inviting people with ease. Because I will tell you, after the 90 days of doing that one invite every day, I felt a lot more confident. And some days I would invite 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. I've invited as many as 6 plus people before in a day. If the opportunity presents itself, I'm going to take it. You know, so on my goal is always to look for that one invite a day. That I still do that today. You know, so that I can constantly have I constantly have leads. I am never without new leads. And again, some of those people are going to come in now. Some are not going to come in. They're not ready yet. And that's okay. So does that make sense? Okay. And you'll notice my favorite language is just take a look, and it may or may not be for you. And you can add that to any of the invites, but you find what you want to focus on. Melody and Ray, yours may be on it that weight,
Right.
right?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Because we already have a lot of people are already asking us. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Sure.
So it makes that easy for you because you have already had such great success in that area for you. And so extend your list. Get the names going of people that you know, even casually, that you know at the bank, that you know in the grocery store, wherever it may be. You know, couple of the bankers, you know, nothing's come of it yet, but they know who I am. They know what I do. I've become Facebook friends with a few of them, you know, so we have that little bit of connection. And whenever I go in and see them, you know, we chat or talk. And the one gal, I've talked with her about taking a look at the business, and they did. It just wasn't for them. Another time she got talking about a girlfriend of hers that she's excited about, because we have casual conversation every time I go in and see her. You know, so we've talked about a friend of hers that was pregnant, ready to have a baby. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting, you know. And I brought up something that I was grateful for when I had my kids was safe cleaning products in the home. And if she would like, I don't know what her friend is doing. If she would like, I'll share the information. And her friend may or may not be interested, but I would love to share the information. Now, something I should have done looking back on that, I should have brought her a sample. Okay. And I can still do that because I see her all the time. I see her weekly. And so it kind of, so now what am I doing? I'm kind of planting small seeds in there so that I don't talk to her about Shaklee all the time, but when it presents itself, I very easily say, well, gosh, I did this, or have you ever tried this? Or, you know, again, asking questions, you know, making casual conversation. So it's just, it's getting to know people. It's a fun thing to do. Are you excited?
Yes.
It's exciting to meet new people. It really is. Some new people that I have met, we have become very good friends. Mm-hmm. We stay in touch. Like one gal I met up in Portland, we connect every single day. just talking about life in general. She is a sweet gal. And so you're just going to meet a lot of great friends. That's the most awesome part. So, anything anybody wants to add?
I have a question, and I've thought about this several times, but the book Momentum Makers that you asked for us to get and read, I'm
Yes.
just curious, are there any Shaklee people in that book?
Not that I've come across yet.
Okay. I just was curious.
Now, I will say, let me see if I've got this book handy to show you. I don't, darn it. I'm going to have to, it's actually Richard Bliss Brooke, his book. I'll get it out. I've got copies of them somewhere. And there's one specifically for Shaklee. That he has available for Shaklee people, and it has these success stories of Shaklee business leaders in the back of the book.
Cool.
He's very good friends with Charlene Fike and some of the other top master and presidential master coordinators. Great guy. Got to meet him in person and talk with him, and just really wonderful guy. So I will find that book. The name escapes me, but it's not right here by my desk, but it's close by, and I will get it.
The 4-year something, is it the 4-year?
Yes.
Career?
Yes, the 4-year career. And it's a simple book on what multi-level marketing could mean for you. And he gives the basic facts. He says it's not for everybody. A very few small percentage go forward and become really successful at it, but anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. It's a very simple process. It's an excellent book, and it really helps you to understand the fundamentals of multi-level marketing. And it has Shaklee stories in the back of people that are very successful. Thank you, Mary. That is the name of the book. And I actually ordered copies because they're like, the more copies you order, the cheaper they are, but they're under $10. And so I have those available, and I will use that as a tool sometimes for people to let them read the book, and then I will get the book back, and it gives me an opportunity to reconnect with them. So with the stories of momentum makers, something along that line, a good place to go would be to hear the Shaklee success stories. Mm-hmm. There are many of those on Shaklee.tv. And then there are also some of those on one of the websites, Mary, that we have. I'm trying to think which one. You know what I'm talking about.
Better Future Starts Today.
Maybe that's the one. Yeah. If you go into one of those resources of those websites that I sent on that resource list, and I think Mary's right, Better Future Starts Today is possibly the one. And it has all kinds of Shaklee success stories. And I love the fact that people are so real. And they talk, one of the things I love about Barbara Lagoni and Jeannie Tuvel and those other people that are on those trainings, they talk about, nobody is successful overnight without hurdles. Nobody gets there without a few bumps in the road, or maybe a lot of bumps in the road. But it's through overcoming and adapting through those makes us better people. And it makes us better to be able to go through more things and to help other people through them. That makes sense. So it's a wonderful way to build people and invest in other people. So, but good question, Leah. Any other questions? No? All right. Well, maybe what I will do is I will pop that invites package in an email to everybody. so that you have it right at the top of your email, print it, go through them, look through it again, pick out 2 business, 2 product, and then we're going to bring a list. If there are certain people that you've wanted to invite, but you're not quite sure how, bring them and we'll practice with you. We'll talk about those people. What might be some good ways to be able to do that? If there's groups of people that you're not quite sure how to invite, bring them. We'll talk about them. You know, this is a time for you to learn, to get better at that, because once you get that under your belt, the presentations are easy because all you're doing is sharing what you love. It's getting that invite to have people to take a look. That's where my struggle was. And then once I overcame that, everything else started to fall into line. So and what's great is the Shaklee tracker system, and we'll show that next week too, can actually help you to keep track of that on a daily basis of what you're doing. And what I actually did is I took a calendar and I made a copy of it for my month. So this is what I will do for March, is I will make a copy of that March and I will have that in front of me and I will put down that invite every day so that I have a way to track what I've done and make sure that I've gotten that done for the day, if that makes sense. Understand, an invite can be email, messenger, text message, phone, in person, Facebook, anyway. It's just so long as you get a response. Okay, that's just important to know because there's lots of ways you can do it. So remember, one more quick thing, youth, the extra 20% off ends tomorrow. So if you want any youth skincare, get it today or tomorrow because it's an extra 20% off. It's a big deal. They don't hardly ever run that kind of special.
And
So.
the collagen special, they said, I guess until supplies last, but it's still going on because I placed an order for a friend today and it's still available at $10.
Yes, yes. I've placed 2 orders. I'm probably going to place 1 more because you can put 1 on every order. Just for your information. Hey, if they're going to give the savings, I'm going to take it. But all right. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions?
Great meeting.
Wonderful. Good.